Good morning. So this week we're going to be talking about chickens, and we're going to be talking about birds as a whole class. But then, as nonfiction readers, we need to be able to narrow down our topics sometimes. And talking about birds as a whole, there's so many different species of birds, and so then we want to kind of narrow down our focus to kind of one type of bird to help us with some more focused instruction and focused research and projects and things like that, so we can become the experts in a certain animal, a certain field, those types of things. Even in chickens, you can look at this picture here, and there are all different types of chickens. So we could even study a specific species of chicken if that were something that you were interested in. But I did want to point out on Epic, there are tons and tons of books on chickens, and I just happened to sort mine by the nonfiction section, so you could just clear the filter. And there's even some fiction books, and we know as readers we don't need to just stick to one genre. So maybe in Millie's Chickens there is something that we could learn about chickens in there, a lesson or something like that too. So there's tons of stuff on here. I just wanted to point that out to you. So you have some ideas of where we're going to be headed when we do our chat on Wednesday. As well as find the additional resource link. I did link this one right here, which was really cool. This is just like the reptile feed last week. This is on a farm, and they're streaming their chickens. So you can see some geese over here. Looks like a turkey maybe in the background. And I think they changed their view at different times of the day so you can see different things. But that's just a live feed of the barn with some chickens and things like that in there. Then there's also some articles and some YouTube videos, some cool facts and things like that as you're wanting to kind of become the expert on chickens. We're going to be talking a lot about illustrations this week and what the illustrations can tell us about our text. So here in this, I'm looking at a diagram, and it's actually teaching me some different things. So as a nonfiction reader, I might want to pay attention to the illustrations before even reading the text that's over here, or watching the video, or looking at some of maybe the details in the paragraph over here. Sometimes that looking at the illustration can give me an idea of what is going to be discussed on the page, or maybe it'll teach me something different. And this is an interactive page, so you can click on that and it will tell you more about it. There's a facts video, and then there's some more information down here at the bottom. Today for your choice board, I selected activities A and D, and the reason why I do that is because it's usually a fluency and then some new grammar skills. So something that you can carry on throughout the rest of the week, something that is a little bit more fun, something to get you started. Fluency is something we want to be practicing every single week, every single day. So that's why I would suggest doing both of these activities, or at least familiarizing yourself with them. For fluency this week, you're reading a passage similar to ones that you remember from our phonics in school. We're working with the silent consonant letters, and that was our skill that we worked on the last week that we were in school. So this would be a review. You might have actually even done this page in your phonics packet, but it's a good review. So you're going to go through and you're going to read it and make sure to find silent consonants. And a silent consonant is going to be one of those consonants that doesn't say the sound. So if we're reading this word, that word is Tom knelt down. We wouldn't say knelt. Or Tom's wrist. We don't say the w-r-ist, right? So there's these silent letters in there. Words like climb. We don't hear that B when we read it. So you're going to go through and you're going to find the consonant words and then respond to this question here. Remember, thinking about what we're reading is just as important as being able to read it. So I want you to make sure you're thinking about that as well. I did create a fluency tic-tac-toe board for you to practice your fluencies in different ways, and then do your very best reporter recording when you do it on Seesaw. So we did, I do have that activity posted on Seesaw where you'll have this page and you can actually go through and practice. All right, for our grammar skill this week, we are continuing with that poetry reading. We're continuing with different types of poems, and we're talking about alliteration today. And when we're so used to thinking of poems as having to have rhyming words or having to have a rhythm or a pattern in them. But there are so many different types of poems, and you guys actually did such an awesome job with that last week. You studied haikus, and you did an awesome job with that with your reptiles. They were fantastic. So this week we're going to be talking about two types, but the first one we're going to talk about today is alliteration. An alliteration is a series of words that start with the same letter or sound. So that's going to be important, that sound part, because it doesn't necessarily have to start with the same letter as long as the sound is the same. Bella brings her blue book to bed. So notice that there are certain words like her and to that are not following that sound or that letter. That's okay. We need to have those words for it to make sense. There's a difference between having an alliteration poem that's just silly versus one that makes sense and is silly. So when you're studying your alliteration, I want you to think about an animal today. And think about an animal. What letter does it start with? What sound does it start with? And then brainstorm as many adjectives, verbs, and nouns that come up with that same letter that begins with your animal. So if you're talking about alligators, you would start with the sound A, that A sound, ah. If you are starting, you could be studying bears or birds and have that B sound, right? That B. So think about those when you're coming up with your activity today. Some examples, these are where they tried to stick explicitly to only that sound or that letter. So you'll see that it is much more challenging to do that. So you don't have to. It actually will make more sense if you add a couple other words in there. But some of these, platypus play, pokey, picking popcorn. Cockatoo cooks, crazy cold crocodiles. Koala kicks, kind kids, kites. So you're seeing that it's starting with that same letter sounds. You want it to make sense, and you want it to be, they tend to be a little bit more silly. Here's a whole bunch on different animals that you can study. I wanted to also share with you on the additional resource page. Here it is. There's a couple YouTube videos, and then there's an alliteration generator. So this is actually a tool that you can use to help you create your poems, and it's one that we would use in school. So a word or sentence you would like to alliterate. So if you already have a sentence in mind, you can put that in there, but let's say you don't, and you want to start with an alligator. So you're gonna hit, if you hit suggest, it gives you an idea. I'm sorry. So there we go. Finally, what's your pen name? This is where you could put your name. We're going to skip this optional. We don't want to know when they go live. Write me alliteration ideas. So here's adjectives that alliterate with alligator. American alligator, angry, adult, amazing, adorable. Here's a whole bunch of nouns. Here's a whole bunch of verbs. The alligator adds, right? That would be a funny poem to think about, an alligator adding. So putting it all together, they do give you some ideas as well. This is an awesome tool to help you generate those ideas and help you generate the alliteration for your specific animal. If you're doing a word such as chicken, because that's the one that we're working with this week, I want you to notice that this is a digraph. It's got that ch sound, the CH. So we're not just going to be brainstorming words that start with the letter C. We're going to be starting, I did it again. We're going to do where we have to search for that CH sound. So let's see, it says, wait a moment. So notice that it's got that CH at the beginning. Chewy, charmy, chill, cheerful, chubby, right? So that CH sound is going to be what your poem would be focused on. There are, the other poem we'll talk about later this week is going to be a Sing Cane poem. And we're going to, like I said, lots of resources on chickens. And I hope you guys enjoy studying this week. And I hope that you guys are all doing well. Send me your posts, send me your videos, and I'll talk to you soon.